Sarah Henderson joins us in Geelong. And Sarah, thanks for joining us. You've had an unsettled day today where the crime crisis in Melbourne, obviously it's Victoria-wide, but you had a crime crisis in the vehicle of a stolen car arrive on your doorstep in Geelong. Talk us through it.
Well, Chris, good afternoon. And yes, we have a full-blown crime crisis in Victoria. And yesterday, in fact, it's all over the papers today, but yesterday there was a shocking incident where 5 literally children, teenagers aged between 13 and 15, got into a stolen car. There was a number of hit and runs in Melbourne. They then headed down the highway and proceeded to crash into 3 vehicles, including one that was captured by my CCTV cameras. It really was shocking, and in the video that we captured, Chris, it does look like the driver was driving at speed. It is a miracle that no one was seriously injured or even killed, including, of course, the children in the car. But in Jacinta Allen's Victoria, we are seeing massive increases in crime, including a 42% increase in car theft in just 1 year. And that is why it is so critical that we have a Brad Batten government in Victoria.
That is just shocking, Vision. As you say, it could have been so much worse. Innocent people could have been killed or seriously hurt. But here's what Jacinta Allen, the Victorian Premier, has had to say about the crime situation.
The data shows us that more and more people are continuing to come into the CBD every weekend. The number of the foot traffic counts that are undertaken by the City of Melbourne and by the Department of Transport shows that foot traffic numbers continues to increase.
Yeah, so she's saying people aren't afraid to go into the Melbourne CBD despite this crime, despite so much happening in the CBD. But as you've just demonstrated, it's across the whole state.
It is across the whole state, particularly in Melbourne, and I think what Jacinta Allen is referring to are the thousands and thousands of people who are coming into protest every weekend, as they have for the last 2 years, and that's why under Brad Batten's protest registration scheme that he's pushing, along with some other fantastic policies including Jack's Law and break bail, face bail, that's why I have called for all protests in the CBD to be shut down. This is untenable, and it is a joke for this hopeless and incompetent Premier to say that the CBD is safe. The CBD of Melbourne is not safe. It is becoming more unsafe every single day under Jacinta Allen and the Labor government. We have a full-blown crime crisis, and that's why the sooner we get rid of this terrible government, the better.
Just back to federal politics, you'll be in Canberra tomorrow week. There'll be a round table on climate and energy policy. Will you be pushing for the coalition to scrap its commitment to net zero?
Yes, I have been, and I will continue to do so. One of the things that I know about winning elections and standing up for the Australian people is you can't sit on the fence. And I am concerned that there is an attempt to find some sort of compromise position. Net zero, frankly, Chris, is sending our country backwards. I would say it is the worst policy failure in living memory in this country. More and more Australians are seeing that it does not work. The Labor government has failed to reach these so-called 2030 and 2035 targets. It's just a complete joke. And we are a resource-rich country. We are so blessed to have so much coal and gas and uranium, and yet we are turning our back on these incredible reserves, this ridiculous folly of driving renewables across this country, electrifying this country, de-industrialising this country. It is insanity, so I will be pushing very, very hard for there to be no net zero laws. We need to turn our back on net zero.
All power to your arm, Sarah Henderson. Thanks for joining us. Sarah Henderson is dead right. This is national self-harm on a grand scale.